All right, we live, y'all.
What is up? Welcome back to the NFL Rundown, brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. I'm excited. Tyler and I have not done this since the NBA draft show. And I was telling him, man, end of NBA season, you get kind of tired out, man. I needed a little break. But after about 2 weeks, I was ready to jump back on and start talking some sports with you guys. So I'm so excited to be back with Tyler and our special guest today. I brought in Trot, Wham, and Dutch Boy Fresh. They do great NBA content over there at Pub Sports Radio. We haven't been able to link up with them yet, so really excited not only to be back but to have these guys on as well. Trot, how you doing, man? Thank you for coming on, man. So excited to finally just do this, not in person, but do a video with you guys. How's everything going with you today?
Oh man, I'm blessed, bro. Appreciate you guys inviting me, and also appreciate you guys inviting my boy Dutch here. We got great chemistry as well, so it's gonna be a great show. And then my guy Tyler, man, great meeting all of you guys. Run Pure Sports. Appreciate you guys, man. And great content. I love what you guys been doing. Shout out to the Keg man himself. And yeah, man, appreciate you guys, bro.
All right, Dutch, you got a new show going on, and I'm loving it. A kind of a new take, right, on two of our favorite things, and that's hitting these winners, and then, of course, smoking the good. Tell them about the daily sesh you got going on, because it seems to be starting. It's popping off already, pretty popular.
Yeah, first of all, I appreciate that, my man. Salute to you, my man Tyler, and always Wham Bam. We keep it real organic, so this is always a beautiful thing to vibe out with you. But yeah, man, the daily sesh, like we say, spread. We like to break bread and hit them straight over the motherfucking head. So it's all about positive vibes, good energy, and of course, we are true connoisseurs. We break down the strain of the day every day. I'm bringing you a new motherfucking strain. Me and my guy Dabby Cap. Shout out to Vic too, our producer on the ones and twos, out here in Vegas right now, holding it down. Be sure to vibe out with the 6:30 Eastern time, 3:30 Pacific time out here on the fresh side, the Daily Sesh at Pub Sports Radio. Just check us out, man. It's nothing but positive vibes. Definitely going to have spread on there. Definitely going to get Tyler on there. Wham Bam been on there and we'll be back. That's most definitely. But yeah, man, appreciate for having me. Appreciate everyone in the chat tuning in, vibing out with us. Can't wait to get to the motherfucking NFL, man. We got about a month. But as our boy Jimmy would like to say, my palms, they're sweaty, man, when we start thinking NFL. So the AFC East, I believe, is going to be nice, too. So I'm ready for this spread. I'm ready.
Tyler, we are back, man. We need a little break, man, but I've been ready to do this, man. How you feeling today?
Yeah, I mean, it's been like 2 months. I think we're going to have to knock some rust off in this first show back. But, I mean, we got two great guests to carry us through the show to break down this great division. I mean, what do we get? Buffalo's a Super Bowl contender. Two teams that we think could have playoff potential, and then we got the Jets. We all know what the Jets are. So I think it'll be a fun show, though. I think we'll have some hot takes here.
All right, exactly. Let's jump right in. The Buffalo Bills, their win total over 11.5, steamed all the way to minus 150 on Bet Online. So, boy, people are thinking the Buffalo Bills are the team to beat. And you look at the Super Bowl odds to win. I'm going off Bet Online here again, too. Buffalo Bills. The biggest favorite, plus 550 only here. The Bucks are plus 850, Chiefs plus 1,000, Bills only plus 550. Tyler, start with you. What are your expectations for the Buffalo Bills this season? Because the fans and the bookmakers have this team pretty high expectations for this team.
I mean, spread, looking at this roster and the moves they made in the offseason, it's basically Super Bowl or bust for this team. I think the only thing that can stop them are injuries. I mean, we've seen some of the other AFC teams, they've dropped a little bit with some talent losses. Of course, Denver got their quarterback now, so they're going to be up there. But, I mean, this Buffalo team added more weapons to the offense. They brought in Joe Brady as a coach. We all seen what he can do with the potent offense at LSU. So they had O.J. Howard to the Dawson Knox tight end spot. They bring in Jamison Crowder. Like, they have weapons on that offense to go with what they already had. Like, this team might average 35 points or higher a game. So I think we just bet all the overs on this team. I think they win like 14 games. And, I mean, looking at their schedule, they have a couple rough weeks to start. They go LA, Tennessee, Miami, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Kansas City before the bye. But I think they can get out of that with maybe 1 to 2 losses. And I think they cruise the rest of the way. So, yeah, I think they go over that 11.5.
Yeah, I mean, Wham, sometimes I think that these teams, they get a little pumped up a little bit, right? But that's not the case here with the Bills. I think all these high expectations are warranted. What do you expect from this team this year?
I agree. And I think you got a guy, Josh Allen, coming into this season knowing that the expectation is Super Bowl bust. He's even mentioned it in pressers as well. My only concern here is not only as far as the offense, like Tyler said, it's just the run game. Now, obviously, there did show some signs of improvement. I think Devin Singletary kind of led his way to the lead spot towards the end of the last 4 games of the season, had pretty good production with 68 carries, I think 6 touchdowns, something around there. So I expect him to try to make that leap. It's just that running game has been shaky outside of Josh Allen, who has to be Lamar Jackson sometimes running around. So I don't expect him to be the leading rusher here. But if he is the leading rusher, I think he still could get over the total. But I think that may be something that's bad long term in the playoffs there. But I think Super Bowl or bust for the Bills. I think they kind of carry this division as the number 1 seed. And I do think the Bills will be one of those contenders later on. Just got to see that running game step up, in my opinion.
Yeah, that was something that Daboll did towards the end of the season there when his running backs weren't getting done. Did more designed runs for Josh Allen to kind of keep the defenses on. It seemed to work. I don't know if that works over a 17-game schedule, though. You don't want to wear down your golden boy doing that. So it'll be interesting to see how Joe Brady does with that rushing attack. Dutch, what are you thinking here? We seem to be pretty high on the team. We seem to think that they're going to meet these expectations, go over the 11.5 wins. What are your thoughts here for this Buffalo Bills? And do you think they can find a running game that's going to get things done?
Yeah, man, I really do, man. You know, it's Bills Mafia, really, I think, all the way around, especially in this division. And like my man Tyler said, it's Super Bowl or bust. I believe we all agree with that. Signed collectibles, 1, Bills most wins, plus 450. He likes that. Not a bad look. We know what it comes down to, man. I mean, it's Josh motherfucking Allen, bro. You know, motherfucker 6'5", 240, and got a cannon. You know, if you fuck with me, you know that I've been on Josh Allen for a minute, and I was very upset that we didn't get him here there in Denver when the motherfucker played an hour down the road from us there at Wyoming. So, you know, I really do like Josh Allen. The guy's a stud. But he has been the best running back on the fucking football team. That will not win a Super Bowl. They got this kid, James Cook, rookie, second-round pick, man. There are big things about him. Obviously, a Georgia running back. You know he was highly recruited. The kid's a stud. I expect him to show out this year, actually. Maybe even take away from Santana, or the Moss running back there. And then, of course, we got Singletary. He's nice, but I think it will be Singletary and more of a Cook look. They also got Duke Johnson in the backfield. So they're definitely focusing on the running game because, believe me, when it comes to playoff football, you got to run the motherfucking football. You got to run the ball. Also, some big additions. Vonnie Miller, my guy, you know, they overpaid. They gave him the house and some with it. They gave him the whip, the house, and the boat. But, hey, man, you know you get around that corner. Also brought in Jordan Phillips, too, the DN from Arizona. So the secondary is obviously the number 1 question to me, to be honest with you. That secondary, they did lose a couple pieces, but they got a first-round pick corner as well. But what is the secondary's best friend and what makes the secondary maybe average or above average is obviously getting to the fucking quarterback. So I think they overpaid for Vaughn, but I believe he does have at least 1 or 2 good years left in him. So he will be a problem. And of course, Jordan Phillips also, if you know, he'll be an issue as well. So add that to that loaded front 7, the Bills, I think it'll make that actual secondary a little bit better. But yeah, man, I got 3 losses on this team. Really 4. I was kind and gave them a 4th loss. But I have them going 13-4. I got them losing to the Rams week 1, Chiefs week 6, and the Bengals week 17. Outside of that, I got them maybe losing 1 game to the Pats. So 13-4, and that's kind. Really see 14-3. So I'm loving Bills Mafia. But it's all up to Josh Allen. You know, stay healthy, and they on their way.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get to a team later in this division that I think is really hard to handicap. But I think the Bills here, pretty straightforward. Other than an injury here, to one of the key players, right? They lose a couple defensive linemen. They lose Josh Allen. They lose Stephon Diggs. Other than that, man, it just seems like this team's ready to roll. So it seems like we're all on the same page here. And sometimes it's better to not overthink these things. I think that we're going to get to a team later, Miami Dolphins is who I'm talking about, that I think the expectations are really hard and they're really widely variant. This, man, it seems like this is pretty straightforward. And I'm even going to be interested to see how this regular season goes, because even if they hit those 14 wins, if they don't make the Super Bowl, it's going to be considered a disappointment. So sometimes when we see these teams that know the regular season doesn't matter as much, we'll see how that affects them. as they're going through. Now, Tyler, you're always good at finding some of these great props here. Is there anything that you found for this Buffalo Bills teams that's not just, over on the win total, or, you're actually going to have to parlay them to win the AFC East because the number's just too high.
Well, speaking of you saying that, DraftKings has one here.
Mhm.
Josh Allen over 4,500 passing yards and Buffalo Bills to win the AFC East at 2-1. He cleared that number last year. You're giving him more weapons and Joe Brady on the coaching staff. I think he's throwing for about 5,000, and they're going to win that division. So that 2-1, I'll definitely be on that. And then we talked about James Cook. I think he might overtake Singletary and become the lead
I think he will
back.
too. I thought Zach Moss was going to, and he just wasn't that dude.
He has some of the best hands out of the backfield in the NFL already, and he hasn't taken a snap. Right. Joe Brady loves throwing to running backs. We've seen what CEH did in LSU's offense. He's 16-1 to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Ooh. The guys in front of him, Pickett, who's probably the third stringer in Pittsburgh, Bryce Hall, who's the running back for the Jets, who's going to be in a passing offense because they're going to be behind every game. Drake London getting throws from Mariota. Treylon Burks, who's in Tannehill's offense. Christian Watson, who definitely could be a factor there. Olave, I don't trust Winston. Sky Moore, Kenneth Walker. I think James Cook's the best out of that bunch and in the best situation. So I'll definitely be on that 16-1.
Yeah, but you lose a guy like Brian Daboll, and you think, boy, that's going to be huge. You replace him with Joe Brady. That's not a drop off at all, and I might even like him a little better. Daboll might be a little better at the development, right? And you got to give him credit for where he took Josh Allen from the beginning to now. But just calling the plays when the weapons are already there, Joe Brady's got to be up. Wham, was there anything else you were looking at besides just these win totals and these regular bets?
Yeah, I like the win total here for the Buffalo Bills. That's something I didn't make official. One thing I'm very close to pulling, though, is going to be them being number 1 and Miami Dolphins being number 2 in this division at plus 200 odds. I really think the other two teams that we're going to talk about outside of those first two, they're probably going to have a little bit more struggles than these first two teams that we're talking about. So I do like that look there. If I had to bet anything here, that will be it.
All right. Dutch, what about you? Any other looks that we left out here?
I mean, everything that I've heard so far sounds real juicy, to be honest with you. But the over 11.5 minus 140 is a beautiful thing. Believe that. Shout out to our guy, Joey Work, too. I see you, my man. I see you. Appreciate you. But, yeah, the thing I did want to touch on, though, not really like I ain't got no props or nothing, but as soon as Tyler started talking about the number, I'm like, damn, I already want to go bet it right now. But I like this.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Khalil Shakur. I like him a lot, actually. I think, obviously the Bills are loaded. They did get O.J. Howard as well. This kid, Khalil Shakur from Boise State, watch out for him, man. Just watch out for him. I think he's going to do big things. We're expecting big things from James Cook as well. I think they had a great draft. I think they made some good signs. So we're all loaded on the Bills. But, yeah, just look out for Khalil. And I think Josh Allen is MVP season, man. So I love that. I love that look that Tyler gave out. MVP for Josh Allen this year, absolutely.
All right, let's move on to the AFC East stalwart, right? I mean, the New England Patriots ran this division for 20 years. They've lost Tom Brady. They had a real rough year with Cam Newton under the helm. Then they seem to have found the answer with Mac Jones. But the question is, and one of the reasons why he fell so far in the draft, is he pretty much already at his ceiling, right? I mean, is this just who he is, right? Because, you look some other cats in the draft, and they seem like they can keep getting better. Justin Fields especially, but Mac Jones pretty much seems like I don't know what he's going to do to get better. Of course, the reports out of training camp is that he's looking better, more confidence, got a little more zip, did plenty of workout, but it's hard to find negative training reports out of these training camps, right? I mean, at this time of year, everybody's hype, everybody's excited, and there's nothing but great reports and all these highlights of guys in their shorts making these unbelievable catches. So I'm not really sure what to do with the Patriots here. This 8.5 wins seems about right. You got to think that Belichick is going to be able to scheme. So even with an average roster, he can make an above average defense, and he's going to have to do that this year. They had a weak linebacking core last year. Then they lost, Kyle Van Noy moved on. They got guys, just replacement level, right? You look at their Manning reigns. These are not going to be high ranked guys. Is Belichick going to be able to do it with this cast? They also lost to Josh McDaniels out to my team, the Raiders, right? Who I think, I think he's going to be a pretty good head coach. We will see how that turns out. But I'm wondering how much of a drop off that is, losing him creating the game plan week to week for Mac Jones. Now they replaced him with Matt Patricia. That didn't make any sense to me. If it wasn't Belichick, right, I'd be ready to just pan all these moves. But I've learned you don't doubt Bill. Still arguably could be the best head coach in the league. Just don't know if he's an average or below general manager, because he has not restocked this team with the type of talent that he really needs to compete for the division. But you can never count out the Patriots. Tyler, I don't know. I would think that they will win 9 games just off the strength of Belichick's ability to coach and get the most out of these players. But boy, I'm not really sure what's going on with this offensive coordinator situation, and not really sure how much improvement we can expect from their quarterback, who came in and played really well last year. What do you think of the New England Patriots, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, if there's a win total I want to stay far away from, it's probably this one. They also brought back Joe Judge into this coaching staff, which those are 2 guys we've seen go coach other places and just be terrible. And now they're both back under Belichick. So could he bring them back like he had them before? Yes. But looking at what they did last year, they were 10-7, and they beat all the teams they should have. They beat Jacksonville. They beat the Jets twice. They beat Houston, Carolina, Cleveland, Atlanta. The 3 meaningful wins they had on that schedule were Buffalo, the Chargers, and Tennessee. They beat Buffalo in a 40-mile-an-hour wind game when Josh Allen didn't realize he could throw through the wind until there were about 2 minutes left in the game. They beat Tennessee when they were ravaged. They didn't have Derrick Henry. They didn't have Julio. They didn't have A.J. Brown. They couldn't move the ball at all. They beat the Chargers when they had a pick 6 in the 4th quarter that decided the game because they won it by 3. So, I mean, could they luck into some wins again this year? Yes. But I think I'm staying away from that 8.5, because judging by the schedule, I could see them getting to 9, but I could also see them staying right around like 6 and 11. So I'm staying away from that one.
Yeah, man, it seems like Belichick's really put himself behind the 8 ball here. Biggest surprise to me is Patricia, who to me was always a defensive guy running the offense. Man, I understand they're going to run the same system, but I still think you got to give McDaniels for the week-to-week game planning. And one thing that we've always learned about this team, they are complex in their ability to prepare. Patricia wasn't necessarily that impressive in Detroit. And if he went back to do the defense under Belichick, that's fine. As the offensive coordinator, man, I don't know what to make. What do you think about the New England Patriots coming up for this year?
Yeah, you know what? Out goes McDaniels, in comes Patricia. So we kind of would expect, those guys to fit back into him to fit back into the role that he was in. I'm not necessarily as sure as far as the offense, though. Now, we did see Mac Jones did play all right. I mean, I'm the biggest Mac Jones hater, I would say, on Twitter, bro. I just don't have any belief in what he does, because it's so ordinary. It's so regular. It's just like something that is not standing out. Short, intermediate passes galore. It's like a buffet of short passes and slants and stuff. So eventually it's going to bite them. Like you mentioned, Tyler, it was a lot of situations that really panned their way last season. And I'm going out on a limb. I did take this bet before I even knew we were doing the show. It's the under 8.5 at plus 100, minus 105 right now for this win total. And I believe that they're going to see some regression. I don't think that, their defense is going to be at the level that it was last year, because they really was holding a lot of the guys down. They kind of played out of their mind. I do expect the complexity of the game plan to still be there. I do think that they can be really good early on as far as the first game against Miami. I think they're still going to lose that game, though. I think it's just going to be like, as far as offensive wise, they're going to be so they're not going to be up to par offensively to be able to win those games like they were last year. I just think that a lot of those games that they had, like Tyler mentioned, just very, very eye-popping, especially that game with the Chargers, because the Chargers just kept shooting themselves in the foot. They should have won that game, and that's as far as my memory, because I remember I had the Chargers that game.
But
it's
the story of the Chargers, not last season. I mean, they've done that for decades.
Forever.
Exactly. But another thing, though, like you mentioned too, Spread, like you only hear good things out of the camps right now. So again, year after year, last 2 years, we hear Ram Stevenson is going to be the next running back. He's going to be that workhorse running back for the Patriots. He didn't show it last year. Are we going to believe it this year? Because I really bought in on it last year. Didn't really see the production there. It does it again this year. Who knows? I don't know. I do expect them to have some better looks, as far as like getting ahead of things. But their schedule is kind of cupcake. They only have one national game one national game, which is a Monday night game. And other than that, they're not going to be seen on Thursday night, I'm not sure. So I think the Patriots are going to see a step back. You're going to see them be portrayed early. With that Monday night game, you're going to see them get that look early, and then they're going to fall off to the dust. So I like the under 8.5 here. I just think that maybe the Jets get a win on them this year. It's not going to be a rookie quarterback Bill Belichick is going against this year as well. You know how he does the rookie quarterback. Zack Wilson's second year, I think they get a chance to bite them again, even though that last year was a terrible game for them. I think they find a way to win, and that is going to be the tipping point to get them under this 8.5 total. So I do think the Jets be able to split one of these games. They're losing the games that they should lose. They can win 8 games, but I think they still go under the 8.5.
All right, Dutch. Tyler and I were kind of on the fence, but Wham took a stand, and that's bold, right? Because it's tough to bet against Bill Belichick, right? I mean, so he came in bold, he came in hot. Well, what do you think of what you heard so far, and where are you going with this team?
All right, man. Wham, do your thing, man. But me, shit, this is a straight flip the fucking coin, honestly. I broke down to this. I think 9-8. If you get the best out of the pass, to be honest with you, and that's thinking extremely positive. I'm with you. I'm with you, Spread. I don't know what really Mac. I never want to hate on Mac Jones. I think he's average. He don't make the big mistakes like some players. So I think he's okay, but he's not going to get you over the top. I don't think he's going to go out there and really win you games, not necessarily lose you games. I think their offense will be average. I think it'll also be like dummy stupid though, like tight ends, run the ball out. They do have, Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry. And then they got, Steve, they got a lot of running backs. They'll bring someone out of the fuck any day. They have 4 or 5 backs back there. So they're going to continue to run the ball. But the big question to me is on the O-line as well, and then can they stop the run? And then and also, they lost their fucking best player, in my opinion, J.C. Jackson, and he had to go to my fucking division, the motherfucking Chargers. So I didn't like that. I want to be honest, wish his ass would have stayed right there. But yeah, I see Sammy in the chat saying Broncos under. Yeah, man. If we can stay away from the injuries, we're going to be beautiful. But if not, then yeah, Tim Patrick got hurt today. If that continues, we might be on that under, Sammy. But yeah, back to the Patriots. I just see them as an average team. Simple. Flip the fucking coin. 9-8, 8-9. I don't. That's simple what it is. But I do believe their offense will not be wow, but I believe it'll be like average. Solid. But that defense is going to be suspect from the secondary and stopping the run as well.
Interesting. I had more questions about the offense. I figured Belichick can he get any group of 11 guys and make a good defense because he schemes so well. And he was the first one. Who was that was getting the plays called into in his helmet that was doing so well? Anyways, he was the first. It was in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. Damn it! I can't. See, I'm out of football. I'm out of football. Do you know what I'm talking about, Tyler?
Are we talking defensive side or the offensive side of the ball?
I'm talking on offense. There was the one quarterback, and he was getting all his plays brought into him under his helmet. The dude was reading the defense for him, and calling his audibles in the helmet.
Goff.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Jared Goff was having.
Yeah,
thank you, buzzer beater. And so he was the first one to just see this and go, well, hey, wait, Goff's not reading the defense. Sean McVay is. Yeah. So I'm going to put a front up, and at 15 seconds we switch, right? I mean, just shit like that they do. And he coaches the team so well that they're able to pull it off. That's why I like this defense. And then I'm looking at the offense, man, and I think that Josh McDaniels, regardless of what happens here in Las Vegas this year, we can say that he's a great offensive coordinator because they've consistently achieved with, they got that wide receiver core is just not very good. And they haven't been good for a while. They haven't really had a real number one since like Randy Moss, that's why I think Brady wanted to leave. He's like, can y'all give me some sort of help? Right. He got a huge backpack there carrying everyone, but you think the offense is going to be good under Patricia with the little pencil, huh?
Just to follow up on that, Spread. I'm glad you came back to me on that because I'm not saying I said they'd be average. I think not as bad as everybody thinks because I do think they got two solid tight ends, and we've seen Bill Belichick what he's done with 2 good tight ends before. Now, obviously not on that level, but I do believe they are good, productive NFL tight ends in Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith, and I do like Devontae Parker. I think we've seen him be fucking pretty nasty at times. So
yeah,
I think he's an upgrade at wide receiver. Is he a one? He's no, but he's solid though. But yeah, when you look at the receiving core, you kind of go back to maybe even below average because that receiving core outside of Devontae Parker is nothing to really look at. But I do believe it'll be simplified running game, 2 tight ends. And you do have a stud wide receiver in Devontae Parker. So I don't expect him to be wow, but I do expect him to be average. And I just look at that defense and I see them losing Dante Hightower. I look against them against the run last year, awful. So they lose their stud cornerback. I look around, they don't have the secondary, in my opinion, and they can't stop the run. So I just don't see it. But you're absolutely right. If Belichick's going to do one thing, you would think it would be that defense.
Yeah, all right. So Patriots, interesting spot here. For a team that we're pretty much used to seeing at the top of the division, but no more. It's, the Buffalo's Bills division to lose now. All the expectations, all the weight on the Buffalo Bills. See how the Patriots respond to kind of an underdog role here, right? Maybe being a little bit overlooked. I'm sure they feel. We'll see if they go out and prove it. Now, here's the team that I throw my hands up on.
Before we get to that spread,
Okay.
one thing I want to keep an eye on with New England.
Yeah.
They drafted a quarterback in the 4th round, Bailey Zappi out of Western Kentucky. He is a complete 180 from Mac Jones. Like, Mac Jones is your play it safe. We're going to keep the ball short. This kid set the record for yardage and touchdowns in college. He's going to straight sling the ball, doesn't care. And Mac Jones almost reminds me of, too, like, he plays in this system, and when he's winning or the game's close and they can keep the running going, it's pretty good. When he falls behind, it's like, all right, now you got to throw for us to win. That's when he doesn't play very well. Don't be surprised if this team starts to fall off a cliff and he's not being able to come back at any point, that they don't give this kid a shot and see if he can throw the ball to bring them back in games.
Yeah, that is interesting. So I didn't know that. So that's good knowledge there. That's you
Good
coming
info.
in with, you watch a lot more college football than me.
Knowing
Kids out of Western
I know who he
Kentucky.
is. I'm glad you admitted too.
Yeah, no, but now it's something to keep an eye on, especially in preseason, right? Because let's be honest, Tyler gave us preseason winners last year, right? We ended up watching some of these games. I'm watching guys that end up in the USFL and right in the CFL, having money on them, and we ended up winning. So that was a lot of fun. So that's a good nugget there. Let's move on to the Miami Dolphins. So Tyler, this is the team that I'm not sure about, right? I feel pretty strong. The Bills are going to win the division. The Patriots are going to hang right around their win total. Coin flip like that said. This Miami Dolphins team wouldn't surprise me. If they're 11-5, wouldn't surprise me. Or no, what is it? 11-6 now. If they're 6-11, right? A widely variant here. They grabbed Tyreek Hill. That's going to be huge, and I think there's going to be a lot made for each player. Mahomes, Tua, and Hill on how he's able to do in this offense, right? Because it's so crazy. Tua's really hurt by that injury because I thought he had one of the best deep balls with all his highlights there at Alabama. I mean, he was just looking great. Deep ball looked terrible last year, and then they even threw up that one, that of course went viral where he's completely underthrowing Tyreek Hill. It looks like he's recovering a punt there, the way that it looked here. But Tyreek Hill has gone out of his way on the podcast to try and big up his boy, calling him the most accurate QB in the league. He didn't want to compare arm strength there with Mahomes, right? But he's trying to get his guy going. And remember, Tyler, last year, I think you were too, right? But I was pretty high on Tua, and we were having fun kind of on the Run Pure shows because everyone was out on him, and he kept winning the games. Or maybe that was 2 seasons ago when he kept winning with no stats. And then last year he misses. They start terribly. They actually finished pretty strong, had a chance to make the playoffs there and fell short at the end. Seemed to be turning things around. Then, of course, the crazy coaching situation. Where Flores leaves, comes out, says, hey, they were trying to get me to lose games, pay me to lose games, and they almost thought they got blackballed. But, of course, my guy, Mike Tomlin, picks him up, brings him back in the league. What a great pickup there for a guy who seems to be all football. Now they bring in this cat. Dutch and I should like him, right? And this guy said he only wants to coach on a team where weed's legal, right? Because he didn't want to be in a state that wasn't legalized. But I think this Miami opportunity was too much to pass. We know he can design plays. The play design's not in question. My question is what's this guy going to do when one of the linebackers late to the meeting, right? He don't really seem – I want to see, can he enforce his team? We saw this with Joe Philbin. This is, 10 years ago, though? But another guy who was really good at drawing up plays but didn't have the personality to be the head man down there in Miami, right? Just maybe a little bit too nice, maybe a little too chill, to run a team, right? You got 53 guys that are just used to being the baddest dude in the room and used to people not telling them shit. Let's see how this turns out here. So I'm not really sure what to make of Mike McDaniel. I know he can draw up plays. Can he lead the team when they lose 3 games in a row? How's he going to respond? When guys are late to meetings, how's he going to respond? I'm really not sure what to make of the team on paper, right? If you're looking at you want to play Madden, they got plenty of stuff to work with, right? Jalen Waddle. Now he moves to a number 2. You got to be kidding me. That's great. And another thing that I'm interested to see is I think Gesicki might be a sleeper in fantasy. Is Tyreek Hill going to open up everything for Gesicki the way he was for Kelsey when he grabbed every single safety on the field as he's making his way down the field? Is Tua going to be able to get him the ball? Is Gesicki going to blow up? And is this defense going to fall under Brian Flores, who I thought under the Belichick tree did a great job of designing good defensive game plans with what I consider to be an average roster. So I'm really not sure what to make of Miami, Tyler. They kind of have a wait and see feel for me, but they definitely have a high ceiling. What are your thoughts here on the Miami Dolphins?
Yeah, I agree with you on the wait and see approach. They basically did everything they could this offseason to go, here, Tua, this is up to you now.
Yeah.
If you could take the step, we'll win. If you don't take the step, we're probably screwed. Just like you talked about,
I think
they
smart.
picked up Tyreek Hill. They picked up Teron Armstead from New Orleans, which solidifies the line. And a lot of the guys they lost on defense, they were able to replace in free agency too. They loaded up at the running back spot, so they should be able to run the ball a little bit better. But, I mean, looking at this schedule, they start off at home against New England. That's a game they can win. But I think their next 3 are all losses. At Baltimore versus Buffalo, at Cincinnati. So I think they're 1-3 out of the gate. Then they go to the Jets. They should be 2-4. But then Minnesota, Pittsburgh, Detroit, Chicago, Cleveland before the bye. They're catching Cleveland right as Deshaun's coming back. So we don't know what he's going to look like. If he's playing like he used to, Cleveland probably wipes the floor with Miami in that game. So, and then after the bye, there's only 1 easy game or 2 easy games for them, and that's Houston and the Jets. The other games they play are San Francisco, the Chargers, Buffalo, Green Bay, New England. I think there's a good chance that if Tua doesn't take that next step to almost being elite, this team wins 5 games and they're picking top 10 next year. Because
it's a great year to be picking top 10 because there's
because then they can go get one of the other quarterbacks because they know he's not going to work out. But I still haven't given up faith spread. I think he could pull it off.
Yeah, I don't know what to do, man. I mean, I was really team Tua there for a while, and then he hasn't really done much to justify my faith. And one other thing I think that's worth noting as I throw this over to you, Wham, everyone's going to think, oh, well, McDaniel pass happy, because he designs these beautiful pass plays. He's still under that Shanahan thing, and even though they do put up big numbers there out in San Francisco and back when he was in Atlanta, this is a run-first offense. Everything is predicated off them setting up the run. So expect to see a balanced attack there. I think he's going to scheme great. I'm just wondering how he's doing it. What do you think of our guy, Mike McDaniel? And what do you think of this team here, the Miami Dolphins, man? Like I said, this is a widely variant team. I think that, their win total could be anywhere between 10 different games on how this team turns out. What do you expect from the Miami Dolphins?
Yeah, I think we're going to find out real early what type of team we're dealing with. The first game, they're going against Belichick. He has all season to prepare for this first game to get them on the right track. So, are they going to be able to skim? Is Mike McDaniels that guy? We're going to find out straight ahead against one of the greatest of all time head coaches first week. So I expect them to win that game, honestly. I think that Jalen Waddle, like you said, getting him to be a number 2 after just setting the rookie record for receptions is like, bro, this is definitely on you, Tua. This is definitely on you. We get the damn pass-happy coach, like you mentioned. But I agree, Deebo Samuel running the ball definitely helped a lot of that offense out, so I expect them to try to implement some of that. That makes a good point there. The problem with me is, can they beat the Bills? They haven't beat the Bills since 2018, December 2nd. They haven't been able to beat the Bills. Can they beat the Bills, at least split? In order for them to be able to keep this second spot, I think they are good at the second spot. And that's the reason why I didn't lock in the Bills number 1 and forecast and the Miami Dolphins number 2 yet, because like you guys, I want to kind of wait and see a little bit, man. So maybe I'm not going to jump on a future with this team just because I just believe that it's so many moving variables, and I expect greatness out of the offense. But the run game is something I am still concerned on. I do like Gaskins. I just think that he may not be that guy. But again, having a new coach from a guy that was very discipline orientated as far as Brian Flores. He was very like one of those keep you on a small short leash. I think Mike McDaniels is going to have the music playing in the locker room. I think he's going to be like more of a younger guy, keeping the vibes up, keeping everybody, being a player coach type style. So that may help out, especially with the Miami vibes. Tyreek Hill, he's from the South, not from Miami, but I think those guys are going to have those type of vibes going on in the locker room. So I think the locker room will be good, especially with all the distractions kind of out of the way. They already got their discipline stuff hammered down on them today, losing their draft picks in regards to tampering. They got all the stuff, trying to put all the stuff behind them about Brian Flores. Like you mentioned, he's going to be coaching. It's not that much ringing on around there. So this got to be the year for them. I believe that they will be the second team. I just kind of scared to bet on it. I do believe that they will be good, though. So the way it looks, I might be on them in that first game against the Patriots, because I believe the Patriots will have a bad season, and it starts off with them losing
slow
that first
too.
game.
They usually have they're like almost always 2-2 at the beginning of the year, even
Right.
when they win the Super Bowl, right? It seems like as Belichick, he likes to see what he's got there and then build on it. And because he's so good coaching, the team improves from week to week, even if he's got a bunch of average players. So yeah, I think you got a great look there, and I might be leaning there for the upset as well. Dutch, we got to be rooting for this guy, right? Because if there's any guy that after he retires is going to be most likely a guest on the Daily Sesh, it's our guy Mike McDaniel, right? This guy's pretty open about what he enjoys to do after work, and I can see that's probably how he gets really creative here with some of these offensive schemes. But is he going to do it for us, or maybe do we have to wait for another enthusiast to come along and really break that mold?
Yeah, man. I like this guy though. I will be rooting for him low key, but he got a headache, man. He got some stress. He's got some stress on his table, and it is. I know my guy, Tyler. You my guy, and I when we looked at this, I thought about it because I know you like Tua, but man, and I don't got nothing against the dude, but I mean, he just not it, man. He's just not it. He's just not the guy. Obviously adding Tyreek Hill going to help out. That's going to help out anybody. But overall, man, I think he is average or below average quarterback, to be honest with you. They big swinging motherfucking miss letting Herbert go. Obviously, everyone knows. But it wasn't that hard to figure out before the draft. And it clearly is not that hard to figure out now that Herbert was a better quarterback. But yeah, man, I think Tua is the X factor here. It's what it comes down to. It's random because we talk about the new head coach, but they got the same defensive coach there, or kind of they don't usually, they kept that there because that defense was intact. But to me, outside of Xavier Howard, who do they have on the secondary? I mean, they don't have anyone. It's like just stay away from him and attack everyone else on there. So that still is an issue. Big question mark for me there. It's the same thing here, man. Almost the same exact feel when I broke down this team as the Patriots. 8-9, 9-8. They're at 8.5. It's right there with it, man. But to me, I can't bet on. If you ask me if I have to bet on, for full season with Tua at the quarterback, I'd have to take the under there, but I wouldn't be shocked if they did win 10 games. But to me, everyone's talking about, Tyreek Hill and Waddle, that yak, yak, just give it to him and let him go. Well, bro, it's another game now. We got 17 games here, and those are a lot of hits. They're going to accumulate. So don't be surprised if and I don't wish injury on none of these guys, but these guys are a little bit smaller. Tyreek Hill's built pretty solid, but also not that big of a guy, for the NFL. So they're going to lay the wood on these boys. You want to keep doing that yak? You want to keep trying to put me on ESPN? Well, they're going to lay the wood, and that's just going to add up, I believe. And Tua, I don't know if he can stay healthy as well. So if I had to place a bet, it'd be under on the Dolphins. But yeah, I definitely like this head coach, and they did get some key additions on the offensive line. Big ups there for Miami getting, my man Tyler touched on that. So I think that'll definitely help them out. But at the end of the day, it's all on the quarterback, man. It's all on the fucking quarterback. I don't think Tua is that guy, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a test for McDaniel, too, when I talk about not the drawing up the plays, which I think he's good at, but the leadership. Tyreek Hill complaining about targets. I think he was the most targeted wide receiver in the league last year, and he still think he don't get the ball enough. If they go 0-2 and he only got, like 11 targets, he's going to have some stuff right off the bat. So, like I said, this is a team with a lot of variance. But I'll tell you what, I think their ceiling's higher. We talked about the Patriots. We both think they're around 8 or 9. I think their ceiling's way higher than the Patriots, though, because if things do click, if for whatever reason, that hip is finally better, we get the guy that we saw at Alabama before he got hurt, right? And with this offense, I mean, you got Waddle and you got Hill, you got Gesicki. I mean, he's got the weapons there for them to make a run. They have the higher ceiling, but fortunately, I also think they have the lower floor because we could see everything else go wild. Here's a team I'm pretty solid on my handicap on, though. The New York Jets. Over 6 is -125. Under 6, -105 at Bet Online. Give me the under, man. I know Zack Wilson's tight. You got to give him props for his off-field endeavors this year. And people talking about how that's going to affect the locker room. Just going to get a bunch of depth. People were saying that. I haven't been around a bunch of 20-year-old dudes, right? A bunch of 25-year-old dudes. Nobody's tripping off that. That doesn't mean anything. If anything, they think it's funny and cool. That's way overblown to me. The problem here for me on this team is just they're just not very good. And this schedule is ridiculous. The schedule is ridiculous. And Tyler, I'm going to let you take it away from there because you've gone over the schedule and you found what I think is basically, one of the best bets we're going to give out today on this show. Take it away, Tyler. Talk about the schedule and where they're going to find this first win.
Before we get to that bet, though, I just want to touch on something. They did have a great draft this past offseason.
And that's why people, I think, are high on them.
They drafted 7 guys in the first 4 rounds, 3 of them in the first round. Like, if this team wasn't playing this gauntlet of a schedule we're about to go over, I would be a little more higher on them, and maybe they have, not a breakout season, but they're like, there's that light at the end of the tunnel for the Jets. They're finally getting close to it. But this schedule, I mean, the entire AFC North to start. Baltimore, at Cleveland, Cincinnati, at Pittsburgh. I think they're 0-4 to start the year. With that lone game they could win being the Cleveland game because Brissett's going to be the quarterback. But I think Nick Chubb could run all over them that week. Then versus Miami at home, that all depends on what Tua is. But even if Tua is not all that good, still think he could beat the Jets. At Green Bay, at Denver, home for New England, home for Buffalo. I think those are all losses. Then they come out of the bye at New England. That's another loss. Well, then comes this Chicago game sitting at week 11. That's probably the first team they could legitimately beat unless they upset someone. We all agree there, right? DraftKings has a special for team's first win of the season. It's 80-1 for that Bears game to be their first win. I think there's a route where they can get there, and that's their first game they win.
I love that.
That's juicy.
I mean, 80. It's always hard to argue when people start throwing out 81s. You can't really say no because
looking at the schedule, it's like that's the way it breaks down. That should be the game they win. And if you think maybe they upset the Browns because they don't have a quarterback, that's plus 425 right there. So you could just bet both.
Yeah.
And if you think if you think Chicago gets past them and all of a sudden they're 0-12, that schedule rounds out with Minnesota, Buffalo, which are 2 more losses. But then they go Detroit, Jacksonville, Seattle. All 3 winnable games. Detroit's 100-1, and Seattle and Jacksonville are 150-1. That team's eventually going to win a game. They're not going 0-17.
Right. Yeah, I think you found a good one there. Wham, Tyler and I both down on the Jets. The only thing you can point to, Tyler pointed out, they did have a great draft. But is it going to be enough here? I'm not really sure what to make of this team. And you actually had a prop that you were just riding last. You rode that thing till the wheels fall off. Why don't you break that one down as well?
Yeah, so I'm a big Braxton Berrios. I'm probably the leader of the fan club at this point. Just based off of his last 5 weeks production, I bet his touchdown prop pretty much every game. And also in my dynasty league, we do return yards, so he was a star for me on my fantasy as well. So it's probably a little biased there. I will put that out there, and I will make that disclaimer. But Zack Wilson, year 2, I kind of am high on this kid. I did like him at BYU. First year for the coach last year as well. So both rookie coach, rookie quarterback. I think year 2 is a little bit better for them. They were ranked 25th in pass yards per play last year. Last year, they were also ranked 20th in pass block rating. I think what they did in the draft this year showed that what they were doing prior years, just they had to make some type of adjustments. I think the last 2020 first 11th overall pick in Becton, he hasn't really panned out on the line. He's not showing to be that type of guy. Maybe this is his year. He's getting a little bit more help. They are reinforcing that line because Zack Wilson was getting killed first thing we talked about here about the New England Patriots, that game, he got crushed and got killed there. So I think they are making some improvements on that side of the ball as far as offensively. Elijah Moore, I think he will make another step this year. He did play really well last year. Find some stuff, some knick-knack injuries there. You didn't really get anything from Corey Davis, though, who you brought in. So, the offense hasn't really shown, any type of production on that side of the ball really last year outside of Braxton Berrios, like I said, towards the end of the season. So I think he will be their utility wide receiver, obviously, maybe a slot guy, and still be getting returns. I'm going to be looking for his touchdown props a lot early on. Because I think we're going to see them be valued at a good number, and eventually they come to market. I think right now you're going to see what you're saying, Tyler, is honestly kind of how I'm expecting this Jets to do. Still lose games, but be very competitive while doing it. I think they're going to be a lot more competitive than what they were last year, and I'm scared of the win total at 6, to be honest with you. I think they may push. So that's the reason why 6.
So
I think they may
do
push.
A lot better than me.
Because, like Tyler said, towards the end of that, if they did somehow win that game without Deshaun Watson, right? They have that first win. They could possibly get some type of confidence coming out of the bye and beating that Patriots team. I wouldn't be surprised. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they've been able to do that. So that's the only reason why I kind of could see them getting to 6. Because towards the end of that, very winnable games against the Lions, Jaguars, Seahawks, which all teams should be bottom feeders at that point.
And we're also evaluating these teams fully healthy, right? I mean, if God forbid Josh Allen gets hurt, then
right.
The Bills are a winnable game now, right? Because that's how good he is, right?
Yeah.
And so teams can get taken out here. But boy, I think it's tough. And when we talk about coaching and schemes, Robert Saleh did a great job with the San Francisco 49ers, but he had dudes. It's a lot easier to scheme when you have dudes that are winning their one-on-one matchups, especially on that defensive line, because it makes everything easier because you can keep 7 back and you're still getting pressure. Dutch, what do you think here of the New York Jets here in the 2022 season?
Yeah, man. Real quick, Andrew G says, is it too quick to bet Baltimore -6? I don't think it's too quick to bet anything if you like it, man.
Yeah.
Eric G, I see you, my dude. But I do like, I said that about Tua and shit, but I like to, I'm not huge on the future bets, but I really, if we're, for one bet that if I lead the show, but it would be the Miami Dolphins -2.5 week 1. I think they'll be ready to rock and roll at the house. I think it'll start off pretty good for Tua, and then if you look at the schedule, it's going to go down very quickly. Just to touch on that. But outside of that, I really just think the value in this division outside of week to week would be, if you're betting it has to be on the Bills, man. Everything else to me is just a straight coin flip. Can I see? I'm with Wham. I wouldn't be surprised if they won 6 games, but I got them at 5-12. So, but they injuries are where they're at. So to me, this just isn't a thing I would want to bet on at all. They did it. We touched on a great draft. Highlighted by Garrett Wilson, wide receiver from Ohio State, and then I like the tight end from Cincinnati. If he comes back off the injury, CJ, big boy, he supported his teammate. Spread. He wasn't too worried about him pulling, Miss Mom Dukes. He had the T-shirt rocking, So, the vibe in the locker room definitely isn't affected by a little man doing his thing or by the young man doing his thing, So, I don't think that'll affect him at all. It's coming down to coaching and just pure talent, really, at the end of the day. I don't think the O-line is where it needs to be as well. And we know these games are usually won in the trenches. So they have talent, though. They have some guys. My man touched on Corey Davis. Can he get back to, I actually like the guy, but he's one day he's there, one day he's fucking not. So can he get a little more consistent? I think they have the talent when you break down the roster, actually. From an offensive perspective, to do something, but like I told you I don't really count on Zack Wilson at the end of the day. I think he's one hit away from pretty much being out. I'll be surprised if this guy lasts more than 10 games. I hate to say that. He didn't last very long in BYU. He doesn't really have that body structure. That's one thing I love so much about Josh Allen. That motherfucker can lay the wood 6, and get right back up. You're not going to see that out of Zack Wilson. His ass better get the fuck out of bounds and get down. And I hope he does do that. I do. But, this is the NFL and it's a hard motherfucking game. So I got to be realistic with this. So, yeah, this is not anything I would bet on with the Jets, really. It's a straight corn fit, but I do have them going 5-12.
Yeah, see, I think I'm a little lower on them than you guys. I think they might even be lower than 5. And my idea here is just they can't block. So it's going to make it tough to run no matter who the running back is. And it's going to make Zack Wilson run for his life. And we talked about drawing up plays earlier. it's hard to draw up a play when the guy don't have no time. And I don't even know that this is even an indictment on Zack Wilson if they don't do well again this year, because boy, it's tough. And also last year, I mean, they just can stop the run. Every single time it felt like they were going to get an upset, the other team would just run just simple plays, off tackle. I mean, look like me playing Madden. Just run the ball up the middle, run the ball, and they couldn't stop it. And they couldn't stop it. So, and I don't think Salah is a bad coach. I just don't think he's got the guys. If you're losing each individual battle on that offensive line or on the defensive line, it's really tough to get wins here. But you guys are a little higher on the Jets, and hey, that would make it more fun, man. We need to get a good team in this New York area. The New York teams have combined to have like the worst record over the last 5 years. And I mean, they got passionate fan bases on both sides. The biggest media market in the United States, and they can't get a winner to save them life. Good thing they got the Yankees. If they ever put a salary cap in, right? Could be tough here for New York sports. But fortunately, they got them going. They could just keep getting whoever they want. So Tyler, let's do final thoughts here on the NFC East. Anything that I missed asking you, or just what do you think of this division overall?
No, I mean, I think we touched on everything. Just to touch on that, how Dutch was saying he thinks Zack Wilson gets hurt. The more I look at it, I'm not sure he makes it out of the first 4 weeks because Baltimore's going to blitz him. Rushes? Yeah, Baltimore's going to blitz the hell out of him week 1. Myles Garrett's coming after him week 2. They get a little bit of like a soft spot against Cincy, but Cincy's still sending pressure. And then here comes TJ Watt week 4. So, I mean...
And since he could also have 35 points at half, so that he's going to be dropping back every play.
Yeah, he's definitely getting hurt this year. If we could find that prop, bet the yes.
Oh, man.
All right. Well, Wham, so good to finally do content with you. Like I said before, man, I watch the shows. I love the content you guys are producing. Now we finally get to do one. You got any more words for the people? Maybe anything I missed before we sign off?
Oh, no, man. I appreciate you guys for having me on. Just the only official play that I did bet on is was the under. But in New England at 8.5 at plus 100, but it's at minus 105 officially there. But yeah, man, I appreciate you guys for having me on. Again, Dutch, always good to be with my guys. Tyler, Spreadman, Run Sports, man, appreciate you guys, bro.
In a few months, we got to get you guys back on for NBA. I think we'll tear that sport up.
We're definitely going to do that for sure. We're going to do some NBA. Dutch, I loved having you on here. I'll be looking forward. We'll be linking. I'm going to have to jump on the daily sesh with you guys as well. But you got any words for the people before we get out of here?
Yeah, man, appreciate it. Yeah, I know I can't help but to see this cast right here vibing out with y'all for the first time. I love it, but I can't help but to thank the NBA, man. I just can't help but to thank the motherfucking association. It's a beautiful thing, though, vibing out with everyone in the chat. Andrew G, Eric Chang, everyone I see y'all. Appreciate the love. Spread, definitely going to vibe out with you soon on the daily sesh. Everyone come vibe out with us today. 6:30 Eastern time, Pub Sports Radio will be vibing, but definitely enjoy it. I like the Dolphins, man. Week 1, minus 2.5. And other than that, this division is straight Bills motherfucking mafia.
Yeah, it looks like Josh Allen's ascension is going to continue. It seems like we all agree on that. Everybody, thank you for watching. And I know this isn't like the NBA show. People will catch it later on the replay. So if you do, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you want to know more about what's going on, head on over to runpuresports.com. Use that promo code GetBets to become a member. We'll be back on Friday. We'll be doing the NFC East then, and we'll be continuing doing twice a week daily previews until the season starts. And then Tyler and I will be back there doing the Monday recap during the season. And then, of course, Friday we'll give out our best bets and props. Thank you again, Wham and Dutch, for joining us. What's up, Twatty, saying Jets could go 0-6 in the division. It's true. We'll be bringing him on as well. So we got a lot coming up here at Run Pure Sports. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you become a member. Promo code GetBets, Run Pure.